If you're a CEO, entrepreneur, or business owner, this is the perfect video for you, and it will explain exactly how to fix any health problems that are showing up in your life easily. I'm Etienne Wilson, and I run a company called Apex Fitness. And I'm Etienne Wilson, and I run a company called Apex Fitness, and here are my credentials. So I'm cutting, and I'm currently at 12.3% body fat. And here are my recovery scores from the past 7 days. While working 50 plus hours per week. All right, so you are losing money from not being healthy due to a few of the following reasons. The first is fluctuating energy levels. If you wake up, some days you're super productive, super energized, but then, maybe after a bad meal or a bad night's sleep, the next day you're just dead tired, you get nothing done the whole day. Big problem, costing you a lot of money, right? Second thing, potentially a lack of true confidence and self-esteem in yourself to be able to lead people. So you can imagine if you were completely confident in your physique and in your body and your health, you knew you were taking care of yourself, you knew you were doing all the things you needed to be doing, that would carry through, that would carry through into how you conduct meetings, how you hire, and your overall leadership skills, your self-esteem in general, which is also costing you money. 3, poor emotional management. So emotional management, there's a lot of skills for it, but a huge underlying skill is health, or thing to focus on to achieve emotional management. If your sleep is bad, it doesn't matter how long you meditate, you will not be in a good emotional state consistently. You can't out meditate poor sleep. Same way you can't out train a bad diet. It's really important. And that is affecting, if you're doing sales calls or whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis, I can pretty much guarantee that poor emotional management, if your brain is like, okay, well, I'm unhappy, so I'm just gonna do nothing. That's an issue. That's, causing you a productivity detriment, right? Fourth thing is poor focus. If your diet is messed up, like I said, it's gonna be really hard to focus if you're eating random junk food or, sugary random stuff. I can't even think of it because I don't eat this stuff, but that kind of thing. Then you're not gonna be in you're not gonna be able to achieve flow. You're not gonna be able to speak clearly, and it's gonna be tough, right? Fifth thing is the fact that there's a high risk, not to be too dark, right? But that you will be dead before you can truly achieve your highest vision. And this is, it's just the reality. Life expectancy is affected by a lot of these things. And adding 5, 10, 15 years to your lifespan will allow you to achieve way more in life. So really important stuff, right? Okay, so the solution. The exact same skill that it takes to run a successful company is what it takes to build a jacked physique. It's pain tolerance, okay? When you are running a company, it kind of sucks. It hurts. It's just sitting in pain, right? And eventually you kind of learn to enjoy that pain, and I'll explain why this is the best possible thing for you. But it's the exact same thing with a jacked physique and improving your health. All you need to do is learn to apply the same pattern that you've used to build a successful company and apply it to your health, to your fitness, to your physique. So for example, you might not like working out. You might not like eating healthy. It might hurt you. It might not in a bad physical pain or anything like that, but it might take effort, discipline, willpower. It might not be a pleasurable experience for you, right? And in order to fix your health, in order to get jacked, you just need to face that, accept that it's there, and then completely ignore it and do it anyways, basically. So you wake up and you have a gym session scheduled, you have a leg day, right? Or a full body day, whatever. And your brain is like, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. And then you just do it anyways. You put one foot in front of the other and do it anyways. Act like you're about to hit you're about to do a 12-hour workday. It might kind of suck, but you just do it anyways. Same thing. You just act like the exact same thing if you're gonna hit a disgusting workout as you would if you're gonna hit a 12-hour workday, right? Same skill, just pain tolerance, just sitting in pain and suffering for 2-3 years to fully achieve what you want, how you see yourself. But even, I mean, you can get the benefits in like 4 weeks of this, or even 2 weeks of suffering. So yeah. Now the second thing for the solution is, and there's 3 steps, is the homeostatic effect of your brain. So our brain has a very powerful ability to adapt to our environment. So basically, if you are in a dopamine fasted state, or a state where you are like basically doing hard things, let's just explain it that way. You're doing hard things all the time. Your brain will adapt to this, okay? So if you're constantly running training to run a marathon, you're running whatever, a mile a day or something like that, or 2 miles a day, 10 miles a week, right? Then motherfuckers need to not have mufflers, man. Or need to have mufflers. So if you are running a marathon or training to run a marathon, right? And you're running 1-2 miles a day, 10 miles a week, whatever it is for you, then your brain will adjust to that, and that will become its new baseline. After like 4 weeks of doing that, it'll just be kind of normal, Like if you start taking cold showers, it'll suck for a little bit, and then your brain will just adjust to it, okay? Same thing with working out, same thing with doing anything difficult, and the same thing with comfort. So if you start watching Netflix for 6 hours a day, your brain will adjust to that level of comfort, and so it will put you at the same, you basically can't really affect it. You can affect it in the short term, but over the long term, it's pretty much just exactly the same no matter what you're doing. To an extent, if you're like doing something absolutely, like if you're doing cocaine, it's gonna like tank worse. Or if you're doing like, I'm gonna say that differently. If you're, like a crackhead, it's gonna tank, right? Versus if you're, doing some kind of like horrible, like painful thing that's like damaging your body tissue, that will not be, but within like the bounds of normal activities, your brain basically just has a set point. It'll basically bring you there no matter what, okay? And the way this works, there's basically a dopamine baseline you have. So you're basically at a baseline, and so you can spike your dopamine. There's peaks and troughs like this. So if you do something enjoyable or something painful, if you do something, it'll like spike or trough, right? So if you do something painful, it'll trough, and then it'll spike back up. And if you do something like easy, so like, you eat McDonald's instead of working out, it will spike and then it will trough. And then after you do that, your baseline drops, by the way. So you're basically like more unhappy over time. And that's why we want pain. That's why you want to do the hard things, because it'll make your baseline higher. If you're comparing it to the lowering effect of doing easy things, basically. Okay. The third thing is why pain is your best friend. So pain is the tool you can use to eradicate your current identity, to make your current identity shift and kind of wither and die, basically, so that your new evolving self, the self that is way richer, way more jacked, way more healthy, happier, can exist. You can't really have like two selves coexisting. Your current self is generally like, it wants to avoid the pain. It wants to kind of do the easy option. It wants to like, it'll kind of resist your change. And the evolving self is the self that you want to become. It's kind of like your goal. It's the identity you need to embody to hit your goals, right? And so we achieve that by getting rid and putting our current self in evolving pain. So like I said, the pain of going to the gym when you don't want to, and the pain of eating healthy when you don't want to, and the pain of, doing that hard task that you need to do for work, that you don't want to, right? It's all about not wanting to. You can kind of use pain as like a compass. The there are caveats to this, but in the realm of evolving pain, you can think of it as a compass. Like, I really don't want to do this thing, so that's exactly what I should do. I really don't want to go to sleep one time, so that's exactly what I should do. You can use it as a way to gauge exactly how to make as much progress as possible. So combining those two things, those last two things, the homeostatic effect of your brain, the fact that pain, going through pain and avoiding pleasure makes you happier, makes you better over the long term, and that it will help you to create this new identity who is able to hit the goals you want. You should basically start to rewire your relationship with pain. So yeah, if you need to watch this a couple times, that's understandable, but it's really important, and it is super helpful in achieving these things. So yeah, if you want to, there is a link in the description. I'm not going to sell you anything, but if you do, if you are curious and wanting more help, that is there. No worries if not, just thought you should know it's there. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the time, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Love you guys. If you want to subscribe or like or shoot me a comment, that's awesome. And yeah, I'll catch you later. Peace.